just waiting for Jim and Joe to give me some good news. It's 8 o'clock. Where are you guys? Waiting for my good news. Get your fat ass online already.
Normally this kind of action.
It's for us. It's just
exciting.
for us. It's the way our stream is.
Oh dear. It's because you guys are here.
It was a legitimate call. It made sense. It was pass interference. I don't care what anybody says.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
You call runs when you're not supposed to, and Dak Prescott is throwing it in the dirt.
What they say, it's the X's and the O's. It's the Jim and Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and he's back. Here he is, Mr. Joe DeCapita.
Welcome back, know-it-alls, for another edition of Football on the No Show. I am so happy to be back.
Oh, I'm happy.
I mean, I just missed 1 week, but it felt really odd last week. I was like, because just so our viewers know, I had to work a little later than normal.
Yes.
And anyway, as I'm coming back from work, I travel sometimes to do like deliveries or whatever. So as I'm coming back, I'm like, man, I'm checking the time. I'm like, shoot, this is not. It's running late. There's no way I'm gonna make it back. So then I try to hop in the show, and I'm driving. So I'm like, I can't really, message as I'm driving type of thing or whatever, or I shouldn't at least. But I was like, man, maybe by the time I get home, then maybe I can try to conversate with you a little bit, maybe throw some questions at you, maybe try to stump you a little bit. I don't know, but or give you my picks towards the end of the show, give you my picks type of deal. Yep. So I get home and it's like a half hour. There's like 9:30ish, somewhere around there, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I can catch the. So I put the show on. I start commenting and notice that you weren't getting it. You weren't receiving it. Obviously, I'm like, it was like 5 minutes later. I'm like, he still hasn't said nothing. I'm like, how could? Am I not that important?
Yeah, right.
Is he
I'm
completely
stand you
ignoring
up on
me?
your own show. How about
I'm like,
that?
wow.
Just totally showboat you.
But then we found out later that
I
there was
just checked
issues.
here too. We're supposed to be. We did an update with Restream now, and we're supposed to be broadcasting from our page too as well. I can't see now, but I just see that it is going through my personal page still somehow. Even that I'm going live. I don't know what it's going on there. If you guys comment, please try and hit us up here. If you're on Facebook, you can do it via the video through my own personal page too. Or if you haven't joined yet, join our football group, Football on the No Show, and also just check us out on YouTube too. That's an easier way to do it too, because we do stream live on YouTube as well at the same time. So if you can't get it right here on Facebook here, just go ahead, hit us up on YouTube, and there you go. We can see your comment from there, and you can see all the Facebook comments right on YouTube too as well. So you get to see all the best of both worlds right there on YouTube. Just look up Football on the No Show there. Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty interesting week when you were gone, but I got through it, and it was crazy having a game that night. So I was cramming for that game too when it came on, and that was a tough game. It was pretty ugly between both teams, between the Ravens and the Steelers there. But now moving forward into Week 13, Steelers suffer a loss here, to the Washington football team, and this whole NFC East. That's why we decided to focus this show tonight about the NFC East, because there's a lot of stories going around here with this division here. A lot of headlines. This has been the division that people have been mocking the whole season during COVID and everything. They have had losing records. The Cowboys, the rise and the fall, losing Dak, Mike McCarthy, issues on the sidelines, and Carson Wentz. Again, they were supposed to be, or a lot of people thought they were going to be a powerful team here in this division, not playing very well. Giants at the bottom, again, mocked for how they were, and Daniel Jones and his turnovers. He goes through, and now they are in the lead of the division, tied with Washington, but they beat them twice this season. Right. So now they have the upper hand in that whole thing.
Yeah, the one good thing, I guess, out of all this that comes out is that at least the Giants faced them early. They didn't have Alex Smith at quarterback. They were going up against Dwayne Haskins, who's still trying to be developed as a quarterback, and Kyle Allen, who, let's be honest, he's not a threat. So now you see they got away with a couple of wins, to be honest. You know, now there's a better quarterback at the helm for Washington, and you see the results. I mean, Washington football fans, it's so weird to say still, but they got to be happy about this. You know, not only is it a great story for Alex Smith to come back from basically a career-ending injury, a catastrophic injury where he wasn't supposed to come back. He wasn't supposed to come back, and even it was a miracle for him to walk, let alone walk, then start running, then start training. Now he's playing. He's actually back playing at quarterback, and it's truly amazing for him. And now we're seeing the results. Like now he's back. We all knew that he had the IQ to still be the quarterback. He still had the arm. He still had the smarts and all that. Now that he's completely healthy, he's displaying what the Washington football team, ex-Redskins, when they originally brought him in, what they had in mind. He was going to be the starter, and now come full circle after the injury, he is the starter once again, and still proving that he can still start in this league. He still can carry a team, and that's really what the Washington football team has been missing is offense. They've been missing that leader, a quarterback to be able to put up points regardless of who their weapons are. Now we've joked around before the season. They have no wide receivers but Terry McLaurin, right? Well, now there's a couple emerging now out of the heap there. Now you're starting to see guys that no named receivers starting to make a name for themselves, like Sims.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's refreshing for Washington because now not only is they're developing their offense, but now you're starting to see these younger guys click. You know, they're getting it now. I mean, yeah, we're midway through the season, but now this is a time you can really change what was seen as a bad year. Now they're starting to turn the corner here and becoming more of a winning team, a competing team week in and week out. And they just pulled off a huge upset. They just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were undefeated until they met them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see that what Ron Rivera has done with this team, too, as well. He handles a team to where they, were building up on defense, what they had. He knew he had the quarterback that he had there too. Wasn't sure what they're going to do. He brings in Kyle Allen as well, but then also had that back pocket. Alex Smith, was he going to be able to play? We'll have him there just in case.
Just keep him. Yeah.
Yes, and then he goes and looks at and evaluates Dwayne Haskins and says, "I'm not afraid to bench him here too. He's not technically my guy. Right. I got hired here to make this team better.
I got hired to win,
and I don't feel this is the right move."
Right.
Puts Kyle Allen in, and then he goes down, and Alex Smith, which is really the better of all three there.
Yes.
And he is still under contract there. He gets paid $25 million a year here. Going against that cap. So, and he's still signed for another 2 years.
Yeah.
So he's signed until 2022 or 21, end of 21, going into 22. So he's there for a little while still. So this is interesting how it just fell into their lap with this, and the way that Alex Smith has really fought to come back and play. And again, I was skeptical at first, but also I'm afraid for him again. I'm just afraid he's going to get that one hit or something bad for him, and it could go south for poorly. But it is one hell of a story. It is making the team that much better, and you could see what you could do if you just have a capable quarterback and a great defense. And that's the thing that these couple teams here, the Giants and the Washington football team, are doing. They have a great defense, and they're winning by that. With an NFL right now that has wild offenses going crazy, putting up points here, these guys are digging in and getting the dirty points here and making moves that way.
Yeah, I mean, and you brought up the defense. Defense has always been great, and now they added Chase Young in this year's draft. You put him with all these crazy D tackles like Ioannidis, and I think it's I'm gonna forget his name, but anyway, but they have pass rushers, they have run stuffers.
Montez Sweat from a year ago.
They have They have linebackers that can cover. They have their secondary isn't as good as their front seven, but they're adequate enough when you have that front seven that you don't need anything spectacular behind them. So their defense is super solid. They are aggressive. They're going to put pressure on you, and they're going to cover well enough. And believe me, the offenses that are going up against the Washington's defense, they don't have a lot of time. And when you don't have a lot of time, it makes it way easier for the secondary and the defensive backs back there to cover these receivers, not have to cover them for very long before the play's already over. So you got a great defense, and now they finally have an offense that they can lean on when needed. When the offense is putting up points, and when you have an offense that can put up some points for you, and you already have that defense, you're going to win a lot of football games, and they're showing right now what they can do.
And you have the youth there too as well, and now again you have the starter in Alex Smith there. You can take a look at Dwayne Haskins still here. If you've got Alex Smith for 2 more years under that contract, you can still train and get Dwayne Haskins up to par if he's your guy, because, again, he's still on his rookie contract. He's not really costing you anything right now.
No.
And you can't really exactly trade him away for anything right now either. So you might as well, again, take another year talking with Alex Smith and now trying to groom Dwayne Haskins possibly, then to, again, pass the torch after 2 years or so when he might be ready and keep this train rolling again, because, again, they are pretty youthful up front here in the offense.
Or just like you mentioned before, Dwayne Haskins is not tied to this team at all.
Right.
With a new regime in there, that's not their guy, quote unquote. So they don't have to keep him. They don't have to. They could move him if they see fit. Alex Smith is a veteran. He's there. He was originally supposed to be the starter all along until that injury, and now once again he is back at the helm. And with Haskins kind of falling down, in the lineup here in the roster. Different regime. Ron Rivera might just flat out decide, hey, he's not my guy. I'm going to look for a different future quarterback for myself, a guy that I like, a guy like that he feels that'll fit the offensive system that's in place, and that's very possible. They could just move on from Haskins altogether. So with his low salary and him being as young as he is, still developing, there is a market for him. For a team that still needs a quarterback or needs to groom a quarterback for the future. There's a market out there that would be willing to take on him and try to further develop him to be a better quarterback. So it's going to be interesting going forward with this team to keep an eye on the quarterback situation. Do they extend Alex Smith? Does he have the mindset, being an older veteran now, to still want to play longer? Or is he okay with maybe 1 or 2 more years and then saying, I'm good. I've had a good career. I'm done.
Absolutely. And not even in long term, short term right now, they still are tied with the division. Just the tiebreaker now goes to, because the Giants had beat them twice already. But say we've only got 3 more weeks left. So, 4 more weeks. It's going to be interesting here to see who wins. We're going to be following these two teams. Are the Giants going to be able to do it? Are the Washington football team going to be able to jumpstart them if the Giants lose a game here?
It's possible.
You still, even technically, the Cowboys and those guys are still technically in it in a sense for now.
Let's be honest.
But they are looking pretty putrid. We'll talk about them in just a little bit.
The Cowboys, no, you don't have a shot to make the playoffs, because I'm telling you right now, the Giants and the Washington football team, they both have good defenses. For the Giants, it's more about not making mistakes on offense. If they can do that going forward, I say they're still going to win some more games. They're going to maybe win 2 games. Even if they win 1 out of 3 or what have you, or 2 out of 4 or whatever. Even if they go 500, I still that might be enough to either win the division or to maybe make a playoff spot. Maybe. It's hard because the NFC conference is kind of weird with the records. They're always, for whatever reason, they're like almost under 500. Like you have the elite teams, and then after the elite teams, it's like everybody's either 500 or below.
Grinding it out.
So just grinding it out. So it's going to be an interesting race in this division for sure. And now we got the news that Jalen Hurts is now looking to be the starter going forward over Carson Wentz. Not because of injury, everybody, which is kind of amusing.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
more-
Isn't that funny? Because that was the storyline we had before
Right.
the beginning of the season on Carson Wentz, because we've done a whole episode on him basically in the preseason area for him. And now Carson Wentz, again, benched in the last game.
Yeah.
They're trying to search for a spark here. And again, I think Doug Peterson sees what's going on with everybody, hears the murmurs.
He's on the hot seat.
He's on the hot seat right now. He is playing for his job, I think, at this point. And Carson Wentz has been putting him in losing situations. Why not give the kid a chance, more than one play per game, and see where he took him? And there was a little bit of a spark there for them. But
yeah, a little bit of a spark. But you know what? This spells desperation to me. Doug Peterson knows that, the curtain might be calling. It might just be closing down on him on stage because he's not performing as the head coach very well. He's making, his offense is not that great. His offensive play calling is terrible at times. And you have a team that's beat up right now. More offensively than defensively, but it's still beat up. And with those losses, it's a terrible display on the football field of a team. And with the poor decisions that Doug Peterson makes and with the poor play on the football field, all fingers are pointed to him and saying, hey, what's going on? You're supposed to make this better. We're supposed to be better this year. We're supposed to take the division. And that's what they were thinking early on in the season. They were like, I think we could take this division as long as we stay healthy. Obviously, that didn't happen. Now you're seeing with this quarterback change, because Carson Wentz isn't injured. With this quarterback change, what it is Doug Peterson trying to lengthen his tenure as the head coach with the Eagles. So if Hurts works out, let's just say the last 3-4 weeks, he's a starter, and maybe they get three wins before the end of the season. Maybe with Hurts. Now he has an argument with ownership. Now we can just be like, hey, Wentz wasn't working well in my system, blah, blah, blah. Hurts is. This is what I'm saying. If you give me more time with Hurts, we can win more football games. You know what I mean? So that could be his argument to stay. So it's a desperation move on Doug Peterson's part, but is it the best move for the Eagles right now? Remains to be seen. We got to see more of Hurts. Like we just saw a flash in the pan. Nobody prepared for Hurts to play that game. So let's wait and see what happens going forward.
I want to give a shout out to our man Tom Leiter, who runs the NFL News and Updates page and group.
Nice.
Give a shout out to him out there. He
going
said
on,
he
Tom?
loves the show. He loves us better than a bunch of ESPN guys out there. He really appreciate it. We appreciate it,
Really do.
Tom. We love it. So yeah, talking about that on that aspect, it is interesting to see where they go forward here, because now that you have pulled the trigger. Can you really go back to Carson Wentz? Are you going to, go back and forth with these guys? The money says you kind of have to stick with Wentz here now because, again, you've got him locked in and paid. Or then is a team possibly interested? Do they think that he's just in a bad area and they can improve or get the best out of him?
Oh,
We've
for
seen
sure.
that plenty with a lot of other teams. There's murmurings going around, or I think it's just a lot of guys connecting the dots, but they think, which I don't get too, because Phillip Rivers always gets, the low end of things. They think that they could see Wentz getting traded to Indianapolis and taking over Phillip Rivers' spot and becoming the quarterback there, reunited with Frank Reich, where he was getting
Successful too. Yeah.
And that's a Colts team who is on a winning streak right there. It's got a good defense, great offensive line. It's got a good running game here, when you get everybody healthy. But Naheem Hines has been holding it down like a
Jonathan Taylor's been holding it down.
He actually
He's
has been stepping up there too,
and he's a
in the
rookie.
passing game.
Hey,
Yeah.
just want to point that out. But we said on our draft show that Jonathan Taylor was someone to keep eyes on for him to make a rookie splash this year. And sure enough, now that he's gotten the opportunity due to Marlon Mack being injured, he's really just
been able to
rolling
do
with
it.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's been connections there.
I agree with that, actually.
Yeah, it's
I
something
mean,
to
to be
look
honest,
into. What do you think?
Phillip Rivers was never going to be the long-term quarterback there for the Colts. And
Right.
if they really don't believe in Jacoby Brissett, even though he's had some success with that team, and they are going to move forward, Rivers isn't going to be there for more than a year, maybe another year, possibly. So he's very short term. So they only signed him to a 1-year contract. So there's no ties there. They do have to find the next future quarterback there. So you look at that discussion there about possibly Wentz being moved from Philly to Indy, and it makes all the sense in the world. Carson Wentz is still in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you got to take on that contract, but they can do that. You know what I mean? So they're a franchise that has the money. They can take that on. They have their quarterback for the next several years, however that long that may be, obviously due to injuries.
Yes.
But it does make sense. It makes sense for both teams. They get to move on. If Jalen Hurts shows success these last few weeks, I know it's kind of a little bit late too to make this move. And that's why it's an absolute desperation move here by Doug Peterson. But what it does show too is it also shows the Eagles front office and their fans. Is this our next guy? Is this the future of the Eagles? Can he be the guy that takes the torch away from Carson? It's possible. We have to wait and see. We have to get some more tape, more game tape on him, and that's why he's going to start this coming week.
Absolutely. I think it's a combination of all those things. If
Yeah.
you look at it, not only Doug Peterson maybe trying to save his job as well, but the way they're looking, again, or they 3-8-1. I mean, you're on the tail end of things. Things aren't really going your way altogether. I mean, your offensive line's banged up. You made a bunch of mistakes all around.
Yeah.
I mean, I think grabbing Deshaun Jackson and thinking that was a nice fit here and that was going to help you out and get better, and then you still have
I would say, I mean, as far as Deshaun
Alshon
Jackson,
Jeffries. I mean, they should have been getting other, I think weapons and that they didn't move on.
Well,
and,
I mean,
and,
you got to remember too, they waited a little bit too long to get those weapons. They did draft Jalen Reagor this
Right.
year, so they made an effort to get a weapon in there. But here's the thing: is injuries are killing them. Bottom line, like they don't have an offensive line. Pretty much, they got a lot of backups playing, and they're hoping to do the best that they can. So, also for Hurts coming in, he's at a little bit of a disadvantage right now. He's coming into a battered offensive line. Good thing he's mobile.
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz is mobile too. So it's like, what are you trying what are you trying to do here? You got two mobile guys who can get out of trouble and everything. Is this just it's a spark thing, but also at the same time, it's like, are they just turning the page on the season already?
I think it's something. That's what I was just getting at when I was making my point. I think it's kind of in a sense of that they could do both. Like you could say here, we're trying to make a spark here too, see what happens with it. But also, it gives them the opportunity at the tail end of the season to get the guy some work, see how he does when he's thrown into the fire with everybody, get the experience out there, and then when they restart next year, they will probably make an
Carson
executive
Wentz traded to
decision
the
and
Colts.
seeing what they're doing. And we can see it there. You never know. I mean, but yeah, that's the situation going on in Philly. And again, maybe we see Carson Wentz in Indianapolis. Who knows? What do you guys think out there? Do you think they trade him? Do you think there's another team out there besides the Colts that he might fit? Some people even thought that, send Wentz to Tampa Bay, which I think is kind of weird too and ridiculous too. Even though Tom Brady decides to hang it up or something, or he says, come on over here.
But that's the thing about Brady, though, is how much longer can this guy play?
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting up there in age. Like we've been saying this like the past 4 or 5 years, right? But now we're starting to notice, like
I think he's a little more irritated now too, and sees things kind of more differently. I think at being older, he's kind of like, man,
so?
He's like, I don't know about this,
Yeah, and he's taking more punishment down in Tampa. So I mean, that doesn't necessarily that's not a recipe to stay healthy. At his age, in this physical game that we love in football. So, is he going to hang it up after a year? It's possible. Like he never came in and said, I'm going to sign a 5-year deal with Tampa, and I'm definitely going to play 5 years. It's more like a year-to-year basis. Like even if it's a 2-year deal, it's more like, well, I'll play this year. Let's see how I feel in the offseason. Maybe I'll come back the following year. He could very well just flat out retire. But here's the one thing about Brady that I've noticed throughout the years. Brady wants so badly. He wants to break every record as a quarterback before he retires.
Shakalaka.
That's exactly what it is. It's not about how he feels anymore. It's like he could be sore as hell every single week, all beat up. But because he keeps chasing those milestones, those records, all-time records, that's what he wants. And Drew Brees and him are neck and neck with, passing yards or something like that?
I think, passing touchdowns, I think it is. I
Passing
think he goes back
touchdowns.
and forth, yeah.
But even then, he wants to beat Brees. He wants to be able to outlast Brees to be the guy that has broken all these records, and he even wants to beat all of Peyton Manning's records. He wants to beat everybody before he retires. And will his body allow him to do that? Is the thing, because he hasn't had a major injury his whole career.
Yeah,
he's
just
been,
the one. Yeah, the 1 year we put out the whole. season.
but that's the thing. Is like 1 year out of how many?
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy.
That's why you get the longevity and you get what the Patriots had for so long.
Right. So now, how much longer is he going to be able till he gets another major injury, and will that derail him? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's a lot to watch there.
Oh yeah, definitely jumping into a little Tom Brady business, exactly. But what do you guys think about the situation in Philly? Are there Philly fans out there that are happy about this, upset about it?
They gotta be.
They
gotta be
something.
They're just angry altogether.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
They've got to be.
Like if they lose, they're angry.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's playing.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the Giants here. Now, the New York Football Giants, I did not have this pick last week. I thought, although, if Daniel Jones was able to play, that they could beat this team. I wasn't sure what we were going to get out of Colt McCoy here.
True.
They also pretty much tried to keep it. They were able to have a running game, a successful running game. That's not where you see where this offensive
and who
line
was it?
has also
Freaking
Wayne
William
Gallman,
Gallman.
the guy I don't really like, but that's what my luck is though too. See, we got to win, but with guys that don't like, that's how it happens.
It's okay. He's working out.
We go from now. You turn the page. You see week one, the way this offensive line worked. Saquon Barkley, the Steelers defense, they're just getting knocked around. Saquon injured right away, out for the season. And to where they are now, able to have a running game with Wayne Gallman, able to get a little bit better pass protection here. The defense growing together as a whole. You're seeing guys like Leonard Williams back there. I mean, holy moly. I mean, he's more known for me as a run stopper type of guy. He was all over the quarterback and making given fits for Russell Wilson, all day. So it was pretty interesting what these guys have done. But due to a lot of times the way this team has flowed this year, injuries. They got guys injured,
100%.
and everybody wants to knock on Dave Gettleman here and there, but he is not afraid to spend the money and get key guys to make something happen. If Saquon went down, he went tried to get Devonta Freeman. He got Alfred Morris. He got this guy. We had injuries in secondary. He went and finally, it took forever to go get Logan Ryan, which I was really excited about. I mean, in the offseason, he got Bradbury here on the other side. So now you got great solid corner safety back there. And these younger guys are stepping up. Darnell Holmes, Holmes, he's playing very well too as well. And then now these wide receivers too. You see Slayton get another year getting it done. And Evan Ingram staying healthy generally for a full season just about. So this team, you see progress. And this is what I've kind of looked for in this season moving forward as a Giants fan. I thought they would be roughly 6-10. They still might be. We're near that end right now. But nowhere looking for a division. And although I'm excited they could possibly take this division here too, I just wanted to see progress. You get a first-year head coach there, new offense, defense, coaching regime in there, trying to be hard-nosed, set it right, because that team before had no discipline. Finally, we're getting discipline, and now we're starting to get results, and that's all you can ask for. And now this team's making a push and forcing a hand on a lot of other better teams out there.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have made a dramatic turnaround from last year to this year. And like you said, a completely new regime moves in, and usually when that happens, there's not a whole lot of success because of the change in philosophies, offense and defensive plays, and all that has to be relearned by the players. But it's amazing how much they've obtained, how much they've gotten the schemes down, the playbook down, and have really kind of gelled all within one off season. And it doesn't matter who they put in there. Obviously, I mean, Will Gallman, who you've been negative on, I've been negative on because of fumbling issues, because of not just not seeing the field and taking off when he needs to, and all these things. And now he gets a chance to come in because Barkley goes down. I was surprised. I honestly thought that they were gonna. Yeah, they brought in Freeman, but I thought
Alfred Morris.
Alfred
Morris.
Yeah, in Alfred Morris, I do like Alfred Morris a lot actually. Like, I don't know why he was a free agent, to be honest.
I think some people just forgot about him. Maybe.
But
Who knows?
but he's a good player and still a good player. So with Gallman succeeding as a running back, as a pass catcher, and Alfred Morris being able to come in there and spell him on like goal line work or just to give him a breather, it's been amazing. I mean, the offensive line is gelled better. They're protecting, in the passing game better. They're run blocking a little bit better. And Andrew Thomas, I mean, hey, the Giants found their guy at tackle. That's one. You got one now. Now they need to further develop the rest of the offensive line going forward, and I think they will do that. And you got these weapons, right? Sterling Shepard, when he's healthy, and he's been more healthy than injured this year, which is good because he's a favorite target of Daniel Jones, and he gets open and he moves the chains, and then you got Darius Slayton on the other side, who's more of the deep threat, a guy that's very explosive. There's a lot to like with this Giants team now. Now Giants fans aren't dreading every single week because now they're seeing improvement. Their defense actually is better than people give them credit for. The additions that they've made to this defense alone, along with being able to bring in a different defensive scheme altogether, the way it's been meshed and put together, they are really playing lights out football on that side. I mean, they're putting pressure on the quarterback. They're playing good pass protection, good pass defense. They're doing a lot on the defense, and I'm sorry, but they are one of the better defenses right now that are really have come up in one season. So there's a lot to like with the Giants and where they're headed. Do I think that they'll make the playoffs? They have a shot. I mean, they do. They have a shot, but they're going to have to keep Washington at bay, and that's going to be the key. If they can do that, if they can win one more or stay even, they're going to be in the playoffs. And nobody thought the Giants had a chance to make it.
Right. And a good thing, we talked about earlier, is that they were able to play Washington early. Not now, right. So they don't have to worry about them anymore. They just need to handle their business and the teams that they have moving forward, which, again, there are some winnable games there. Some of the teams that they have facing up are beatable. I would say
absolutely.
They are. So,
I just want to say real quick, is one key cog in that defense that they have running so well. There's a couple of them. You got Bradbury, who's a shutdown corner, who was well worth the money, and he's there. Logan Ryan, who's been a solid performer week in and week out. And I'm also going to throw in Blake Martinez. Blake Martinez, a guy who came in from Green Bay, who a lot of teams liked, but no one pulled the trigger to sign him. The Giants, they needed that linebacker to come in there to be the leader at middle linebacker and take over this defense, help teach the team, and he's a tackling machine. Nobody gets by this guy. Like, stops the run, stone cold. He's not the best at pass protection, but I'm sorry, like, in this defensive scheme, I feel like he's pretty much around the football all the time. So with his play and the other additions around him, I just can't say enough. The Giants team has really surprised me.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing it says, though, also about the Seahawks on the other side of this particular game, we've been seeing this for the past, I don't know, it's been like 7 years now, because I even looked this up because I thought it was interesting last season when I was looking at it. I checked again this season just to make sure. And since 2013, Russell Wilson has been sacked 40-plus times in each of those seasons. So 7 consecutive seasons, 40 to 50-plus times. No offensive line, still able to do what he can do. So that's amazing in its own right.
Right.
But you wonder why this team is only able to get so far at times. And they they don't have a lot of those elite guys in the defense anymore that they did in the younger first couple seasons that they had, the Legion of Boom. We said this season that we thought maybe this defense would struggle at times. Offensive line was depleted, and they did play better in the beginning too. Better than I think was expected. But you're gonna suffer losses like this and get the pressure on you. And Russell Wilson is gonna get banged around a little bit. Yes, he's still elite and he's gonna make plays and keep them into the games. But I think that's what we're seeing the next couple times. And I think people need to look at that in a sense. That he's been doing this for his career just about because a lot of people are saying when they're talking now MVP spots, who's got the MVP? Well, Russell Wilson may have jumped out of it and stuff, like he's out of the talks and stuff. Well, he's still the same guy. He's been still playing the best he can here, but you got to look at what he's dealing with.
Absolutely. I mean, and for Russell Wilson, we knew this. Like they haven't really paid too much attention to their offensive line in any given offseason. They've grabbed guys from the free agent heap and it's like, oh, he's a veteran, let's bring him in. Let's bring this guy in, let's bring that guy in, and kind of duct tape this offensive line together and keep it upright. That doesn't work. Like they've done a lot of work on getting weapons for Russell Wilson, which is all well and good, and they have Chris Carson at running back and Carlos Hyde, and that's all great. It's great to have those weapons, but you really do need that offensive line to help protect Russell Wilson, protect your investment. For God's sakes, you just paid this dude like universal money. Like it's insane how much money he's getting paid. So, yes, he's a great player, but in order to keep him longer term, you might want to protect him a little bit going ahead into this draft, into the free agency, maybe find a better, upgrades all the way around on that offensive line. And as far as the defense goes, early on, they did struggle, and we called it before. We're like, you look at their D-line, besides Kieran Reed,
and before
there's nothing to be afraid of.
Dunlap, yeah.
There's nothing to be afraid of. And the same thing that you were talking about is in the secondary. Well, what'd they do? They grabbed it. They ended up pulling off a trade for Carlos Dunlap, which has worked wonders for them because he's kind of like his career is reemerging now all of a sudden, playing for Seattle. And Jamal Adams with that huge trade that they made, midway through the season. So listen, they're an aggressive defense. They do put pressure on you. Bobby Wagner is like timeless. How does this guy this guy is older, but he plays still like he's 24? Like it's insane. The guy's everywhere on the football field. Yep. And that's why in Madden he's like 99. You know what I mean? The guy's just amazing. So so I mean Seattle has definitely progressed. They've gotten better with these additions, and their defense is playing a hell of a lot better. They're definitely in on every football. They're definitely getting pressure. They're definitely doing the things that they need to do. But again, can they sustain this? Can they sustain it to get into the playoffs now? Because now they're sliding a little bit. Now I don't know if teams are figuring them out. I don't know if they're just like concentrating on Russell Wilson to see like what he likes to do. I mean, obviously everyone tries to look at that, but maybe defenses are starting to figure out DK and his routes, and they're starting to figure out like the offense as a whole. And then, I mean, once Seattle, it seems like Seattle's a running team. Like even though they got DK and they got Tyler Lockett and they got all these weapons, they're a running team first. So if they get behind, it's almost like taking them out of their element. And that's when you kind of have Seattle. So I feel like teams are trying to do that. Whenever they're playing Seattle now, they're trying to get a lead right off the cuff. Because if you can do that, it makes it way harder for this team to come back.
Absolutely. And in their division, the NFC West is getting tight just much like the NFC is right
close,
now, too.
Baby.
It's all over, and you don't know what to expect from any of those teams as well.
Yes.
I mean, Arizona was starting on fire. They have had some injuries since then. Maybe teams have figured out Kyler Murray now. Again, he's short, so they're really pressuring. He has the most batted balls this season out of any quarterback. He also has second to most rushing yards, I think, by a quarterback as well. So, I mean, he's getting done and getting out of the pocket and making some plays there on his own. But, again, they're pressuring, I think, forcing him to stay in the pocket, make the throw, and to where the balls are getting batted down because he doesn't have that height advantage to see over the line and get it out of there.
I'm just going to say this. It still, yes, he has the most batted balls, but he's still so electric. He's still making all the throws. He's still doing everything that he needs to do. I don't think any team is going to be able to shut down this guy. I know he's short. I know that, there's visibility issues, of course. And those batted balls are going to continue to happen because of his height. But what with this team, with this offense that they have, I mean, it's dangerous. So I just think that if for some way they could have some kind of a miracle serum to give to all their injured players on defense to bring them back, this Arizona Cardinal team would be lethal right now. They would definitely be taking over this division for sure. And that's the one big problem for them.
Winners don't use drugs.
No one's using drugs.
We're talking about a magic serum that'll make them so they're...
That's not drugs, bro. That's a potion.
Well,
it's fine.
It sounds like drugs to me.
No, we're not doing any hallucinogenics.
Well,
But
anyways,
so that's what they're missing right now.
Yeah,
is all these injured players on defense, and if they had them, this team was
like many people. But look at the
some-
49ers,
making
all
some
the
definite-
injuries that they've
definite
had,
problems.
and they're actually playing hard, and they really were keeping it with the Bills. I know Josh Allen was playing really well that game, but at one point, I mean, the tides could have turned in that particular game last Sunday night, and the 49ers with Nick Mullins are playing hard. So, I mean, you don't know what to see out of the NFC West as well, so that's going to be an interesting part because NFC East is playing a few of those teams. The Giants are playing the Cardinals. So we were just talking about the Cardinals coming up. Again, that's a winnable game. Joe Judge is right now was saying that Daniel Jones looks like he could start. He could be good to go. We'll see what happens. Do they want to just say, let's take it relax?
It may be a bad thing.
If Colt McCoy can just chill, and just, even play this game. What did you think so far? I just brought it up on the last show. I know you watched the last show when I was there by myself, but 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio, the local affiliate for ESPN in our area in Albany, New York, they brought up the fact, why don't they go and get Eli Manning from retirement and sign them to make a push into the playoffs? And I was dead against it, and I kind of got it back and forth with them on Facebook or whatever, and then they just dropped it pretty much, But I thought, again, it was a bad idea. And when I brought up the fact that you have to have Colt McCoy get comfortable in this offense and progress with that offense, and he's signed as the backup for that particular reason, and the way Joe Judge says, next guy goes down, next man up needs to step up and play for this team. To go out and get an Eli Manning from retirement that's been out of playing, not in the conditioning, a different offense. I know some of the guys there still familiar with the guys, but different thing like that. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I know it was a hypothetical, but again, when you want to try and say, oh, this is just a good idea, though, now, I don't think so at all. And you see now, Colt McCoy, another week with that offense, and he did what he was supposed to do in that backup role. And you didn't have to pay Eli Manning whatever he might have even asked to come back, even though he's definitely not coming back. So, but there you go. All right, so there you go. Interesting stuff. The Giants moving forward. We've got Washington on their heels there, too. We talked about the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, unfortunately, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Well, I mean, the last game, it was pretty putrid. I mean, it was funny to see this team. They actually got flexed out. The Giants have been playing so well.
Yes.
Do you see that? They got flexed out of the spot.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, 49ers, and the Giants and Arizona game is now next Sunday night.
Yeah.
That is pretty amazing.
It should be.
But mistakes all around. You could say that they have, a banged-up offensive line as
Which
well.
they do.
You don't have, their starter, Dak Prescott. Now you kind of see how valuable he has been. But you still have a lot of those same other guys. Your defense is still the same. And they're still making major mistakes.
Right.
Leighton Vander Esch, what's he doing? He read Lamar Jackson completely wrong on that whole play, and it was kind of funny that he was sent to be kind of the zone read guy when I think more Jalen Smith is more of that type of run stopper guy than Leighton Vander Esch in that whole deal. What happened on that play there? You know what I'm saying? And it just key mistakes and all around bad play by everyone. The fingers, you want to point the fingers at Andy Dalton, he's no good or this and that. Zeke fumbling, sure. This week, Zerline, 3 missed field goals. If he makes all of those field goals,
and that's
it's
why the
an
Rams don't miss
8-point
them.
Game. It's there. It's winnable. And Dalton, I don't think, was playing bad. He'd throw it away when it wasn't there, and make good plays and good reads. So
Yeah.
they're just all together not playing well. People want to get on Mike McCarthy and say that he should be fired here after one season. I think you should pump the brakes a little bit on there too. But if you want to break it down to my opinion, I don't think he should have been hired in the first place. But, Joe, what do you think about the Dallas Cowboys so far here in this division?
I mean, I don't really think I need to spend too much time on the
Yeah.
Cowboys because let's be honest, Mike McCarthy's a problem. He was a problem in Green Bay with his pass-heavy offense, and you're seeing that now with the Cowboys. Yes, they have injuries on the offensive line, and there's a lot of them. Now we're getting that
Zach Martin?
Zach Martin is now done for at least 3 weeks. Now, that's just at least 3 weeks. It could be longer. Could be the rest of the season, which is pretty much it. And on top of that, no Tyron Smith. His career is in jeopardy now. Like, with all the injuries that he's mounted up, especially back issues and everything going forward, what's to say he decides to retire before next season, comes around? So a Cowboys offensive line beaten, battered, but what are they getting away from? They're getting away from the run game.
Absolutely.
That's what made this
too.
offense run. It's what made him score points, have long drives, take it to teams, wear defenses down that way. With Zeke, are you kidding me? A healthy Zeke Elliott, and you're not running the football? Have you not learned anything, Mike McCarthy? That's the reason why you got fired in Green Bay, because you didn't have a balanced enough offense. Yes, you had Aaron Rodgers. Of course you want to throw the football. But this is not the same thing. Yes, you have weapons, but utilize the run to open up the pass game. That's the Cowboys' formula, and he's going against it, and because of that, you're seeing them struggle. The play action doesn't work if you're not running the football.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, there's certain plays you can't do because it won't be effective, and it's limiting your offense. And then on defense, they've been bad all year. I actually didn't think they were going to be this bad. I thought they were going to be kind of average type of defense. But man, despite their big stars, despite Jalen Smith and DeMarcus Lawrence and all these guys,
yeah, we haven't even seen DeMarcus Lawrence
after
really.
his big payday.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
Yeah,
you get all this money, dude, and where's the sacks? Where's the high performance that you were expected to do? So, I mean, this Cowboys team as a whole offense is a little bit beat up on offensive line, but defense is just not playing up to par. And because of that, there's rumors of Mike McCarthy after 1 year being sent out the door. And to be honest, I'm never for firing a coach right away after one season or maybe even 2 seasons. I know it happens, but it's like, at this point, one season, I think I've seen enough. We already know what Mike McCarthy is, and because the Cowboys brought him in because he's a big name, they thought that, everything's going to work out. We just got to give him players. Well, it's not working out, and I don't think going forward is going to change anything. Like, even if Dak Prescott was there, let's just say that. He's as the season progressed from the beginning to now, he's changed this offense. It's no longer a running team. It's more of a passing team, and they're forgetting about Zeke. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, with that kind of logic, it's time to move on. I think you need to find a coach that's going to utilize everybody and not just try to be so one-sided on things.
Right. So then that takes you to the next point, though. So what do you do? What do you do with the team? Do you blow it up? What do you got? Because you got money invested. You got money invested in the running back. You got money invested in a couple spots on defense. What are you going to do with Dak? What kind of deal are you going to get there too? Because again, coming off the injury, you see now how valuable he is to the team here.
Well, we all knew he was a good quarterback,
right.
but not elite.
Again, Amari Cooper. Where's Amari Cooper here? Dude, I don't see him. I don't have any
signed.
Yeah, I know he's there, but I mean, I see CeeDee Lamb getting a lot more of the catches.
But when you got all these weapons, you can't just you're not going to pinpoint it on one guy, and that's the thing. Like, hey, CeeDee Lamb's open all the time. You're going to throw it to CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper once in a while gets open, and you throw it to Amari Cooper. But here's the thing: is just like you're bringing up.
Yeah.
Is the amount of money that they got going to. So this year they're still got $20+ million. Still. Next year they're due about $28 million under the cap. Still a good amount of money. So I mean, they don't really have to blow up anything right now. As much as we were worried about, going into this year, next year, we thought they were going to take such a hard hit and cap. That's not necessarily the thing. And they still got these major, their key guys signed. Jalen Smith re-signed. All these key guys are still going to be around. So even if I hate to say this, but it's not true, but for lack of a better word, is low-level type players, guys that aren't as critical to your roster, if they let them go, but they still keep that core and they just add in draft via free agency type of deal, they're still going to be okay. They have that receiving core intact. That ain't going nowhere. They have Zeke. They signed him. Dak Prescott's going to get a deal. That's where it's going to shrink this cap number tremendously. And they might be able to fit Dak, but they're not going to fit hardly anybody else after that point.
I'm telling you, too, from murmurs from other Cowboys fans. I don't know if there's Cowboys fans out there watching right now, but again, a lot of fans are disgruntled with the way Zeke has been playing. I saw Pollard. He's been playing very well. Do they try and move Zeke and just say, we're happy with the way Pollard's been working, especially in this Mike McCarthy offense? You don't need to have a spectacular, great running back because, again, the way he spreads it out here and there, kind of avoids the running game, just sprinkles it in here and there. He's been doing well enough and getting a decent amount of the touches and even on special teams making plays. Do they try and move on and get some equity for Zeke?
I don't see that happening. Jerry Jones loves Zeke. He loves his guys. You know what I mean? All these guys that he's brought into this team, he absolutely loves them. They're great players. He loves them. He's not going to just get rid of them, especially in their prime. He just signed an extension with Zeke.
I know.
He ain't letting him go anywhere. He ain't trading him for a first-round pick. He's not even moving him. So Tony Pollard, good player. I think that he could be a starter on a lot of teams. But I think going forward, you're not – listen, this is why NFL fans are NFL fans and not coaches. And not decision makers in the NFLs, because for ideas like that, rude. We want Tony Pollard. We want him to be our starter going forward. We want to move on from Zeke. No, it ain't happening. This is the problem, is they got no offensive line. They're not blocking. And, yeah, I understand what you're saying is because they're fading away from the run. Just change your damn coach. Have it go back to get a coach that actually is going to run an offense similar to what you want, similar to what you built. You're not going to hit the reset button right now and start all over and start. If you have this high profile passing game with Mike McCarthy and saying, oh, you know what, we're going to do away with the running backs, we're going to get rid of Zeke, we can even move Tony Pollard for another draft pick, and then we'll just bring in an average guy to play running back because we don't even really utilize that position anymore, and then change everything else. So I don't see that happening because I think too many things would have to change in order for that to occur. And like I said, it's Jerry's boys. So he's not going to get rid of his guys, and he wants Zeke to be successful. Listen, he just paid him a handsome amount of money here. So he wants him to be able to run the football and everything. And I don't know what the discussions are behind the scenes between Jerry and Mike McCarthy, but Jerry's got to be a little bit, he's definitely unhappy. He definitely wants, Zeke to be utilized. He wants all his receivers to catch footballs and all that. But there's only one football, and you got to figure out what you're going to do with this offense going forward. Because if it's not running the football, then you got an issue. And if it's not getting this offensive line back to prominence, hey, the Cowboys have always, for as long as I can remember, has always had a stout offensive line and a good defensive line. They've always had great lines. So they need to figure out what they're going to do in Dallas, and they got to figure it out quick. If you're going to sign Dak, that's fine, but that's going to definitely cripple this salary cap and eat it away. Depends how they're going to structure it, obviously. I mean, we'll look at the Chiefs with that crazy number with Patrick Mahomes, but his base salary is only $20 million or something like that low. So maybe they can figure something else like that out to maybe save it on the hit there. But going forward, Jerry Jones has got decisions to make, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out, do you want to stay with Mike McCarthy? If so, are you going to make him run the ball more? Go back to more of what was working? Or is Mike McCarthy just saying, oh, it's because I don't have Dak? That's why I'm not doing it.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know, but I know he was furious on the sidelines the other night. Was it last night?
Yeah.
And but I think, again, where you are supposed to be that head coach, you need to get a hold of these guys. I think you need to show some of these guys, like Zerline, dude, you missed 3 of them. You cannot do that. We will have to go find another kicker if you cannot make those.
Oh, yeah,
you know what
100%.
I mean? They need to feel like, I know, because I understand if we're losing the game and stuff like that or whatever. That's how I could see that defense. They weren't playing well altogether, anyways, and they're 31st, I think, in the league altogether at stop trying against the run. But they were still kind of hanging a bit with them. But eventually, if you keep getting the offense in scoring position, not coming up with anything out of it, especially when there should have been a field goal, it should have been an 8-point game. An 8-point game will get a team riled up and in it and playing a little more that next level, more intense.
Oh, yeah. It's momentum.
Not make
it's all
mistakes.
momentum.
And that's where you saw it fade away in that team, and he didn't grab a hold of them and get them straight. And that's a big part, I think, of the head coach's job that you need to do. So. All right, so there you go. There's the NFC East. We covered a lot of stuff. What do you guys think out there about, if you are a fan of the NFC East? What do you guys think about any of the things we discussed? The Cowboys, the Giants stepping up, playing some better defense. The Carson Wentz is now benched. I mean, this could be the new era for Jalen Hurts. And the Washington football team, despite the funny name, and going through 3 now in full circle to Alex Smith again,
right?
And having
the
a good
original
defense. 2 teams that were going to be at the bottom of this division are now tied for the lead. So it's pretty interesting there moving forward with that. And just take a look back here. I had this all set up here. But Carson Wentz, here's his career stats. If you want to take a peek at what he's been doing, though. Because, despite being injured on and off, he does have a Super Bowl win. He has a Pro Bowl as well. He's 35, 32-1, completion percentage of 62.7. He's got 16,821 yards. And 113 touchdowns, 50 interceptions on those 113 touchdowns, 50 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 89.2. So there you go. There's his career stats all together. Can somebody straighten him out? We've seen this is the worst year he's had since his rookie year.
Right.
3 years in between there looked very better. Peter Cole
but got injured a lot.
Yep. But then injured a lot. Mm-hmm. Can somebody find that Carson Wentz in there again?
Yes,
and
Frank,
bring it out.
Frank can do it
there in Indianapolis. So there you go. All right. So what that brings us up to one of Joe's favorite segments here. I would say in the know fact of the day.
Let's
go.
go.
Here you go. It's the fact of the day on this date here, December 8th, 2013. Denver Broncos kicker Matt Prater set the NFL record for the longest field goal. The 64-yarder came against the Tennessee Titans. There you go, and that is our in-the-know fact of the day. Yeah, that's right. Matt Prater, is held by another Denver Broncos kicker, Jason Elam, for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And others had tied that. Mm-hmm. But then Matt Prater, one of the biggest, long kickers here in the NFL, gets it done and has the record. So it's pretty interesting how these records fall with the kicking game. And they're trying to be a little, getting kicking out of the game. So you start to think about some of the decisions that have been made, and
I think that would be atrocious.
Yeah, it would be.
It's very exciting when it comes down to the field goal. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
that's the absolute limelight for the kickers. Like they want the game is on their shoulders at that moment, and they're like, if I make this, I'm a fucking hero.
Oh yeah, it is. It's exciting. Speaking about exciting, it is time for our competition, our picks competition here. That's right.
Head-to-head something.
Our head-to-head. Here we go. Joe and I have the competition going, and I have taken the lead now. 2 more games this week. Let's see if I can hang on. It's close. This next coming weeks here are pretty crucial and it could go either way here with some of these games here too. So what we're doing is a big competition here. Joe and I do our picks against each other. The loser will have to drink a full thing of liquor. It's a football-shaped cup here. I'll have to get that thing here one of these times and see how much liquor is in there. It is a lot. It's like a half a bottle. And Joe has lost the last 2 seasons in a close one. He's losing right now, but do not put this man out. This guy has been on point this year. It is tough. So it's great, but let's get into it here. All right, so Sunday, we talked about it earlier. I think we had New England now and the Rams. What do you got in this one, Joe? I mean, New England, they're like up and down. Last week they blow out the Chargers. What happened there? 45-0.
I have no idea.
What was that? But then again, they can't do so well. Cam Newton even, too. If they want to try and say he's in any kind of talk for a comeback player of the year, get the hell out of here.
No,
Everybody knows Alex Smith is. But look at the stats even then. Cam Newton's like 8 and 9 for like 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Like, he's not looking good at all.
Come on.
So get the hell out of here with that. But, all right, the Rams, Jared Goff has mistakes here, clumsy there. Mm-hmm. With the weapons he has, they have a great offense can get this going here. That defense still playing well. Jalen Ramsey seems like he's been shutting down whatever receiver he's on every week. And Aaron Donald still does things that Aaron Donald does. Bill Belichick here had planned to beat these guys and Sean McVay before. We've seen them in the Super Bowl. We've seen Sean McVay just basically surrender and say, all right, I'm just taking calling plays out. We were going to run to the line last second so that trying to figure something out. Is he going to get shell-shocked in this one, or is this the time the Rams are going to come back here on the Patriots?
I mean, and in their division, it's close. So they need every game going forward. They need to handle business. They are home, so they get to play in that nice warm weather. New England's going to come over to the West Coast, and I think that with the Rams defense and how well they've been playing. I mean, they've been kind of lights out. Mm-hmm. Let's just take a moment and talk about how good the Rams D has been. And I really think the Rams defense is carrying this team as a whole. Because despite Jared Goff's, poor decisions at times, despite his lackluster performances, the defense still keeps them in games long enough to the offense to figure itself out, for Goff to snap out of it and make the throws that he needs to make and make the decisions that he needs to make and get this offense back on track. So the Rams, it's hard to bet against them, to be honest, because they are playing well right now. So I'm going to go with the Rams in this one. And the Patriots, I don't know what happened last week. I thought for sure the Chargers were going to win that game. I thought that, the way the Chargers have been playing with Justin Herbert, that they were just going to basically run away with the game. Instead, it was quite the opposite. The Chargers didn't get off the school bus to play in this one, and the Patriots came to play, and Bill Belichick had a great defensive game plan against this team and really just shut them down. So Herbert, I do have to question you though, is I don't know why the hell you shaved your head, but you look like some kind of like a skinned weasel. I don't know what's going on with that, and maybe that's affecting your game. So
could be. Maybe
they got to figure something out this week, but I got New England losing against the Rams in this one.
Justin Herbert's been playing pretty
it's
well.
Like this is a replay of the Super Bowl.
It is, yeah. That's what they kind of talked about it. But again, you don't have Tom Brady there. You have Cam Newton there. So is it the same? Well, for me, it's Belichick
the
versus
teams.
Sean McVay and the two teams. And again, there's still some question marks here on who might win this one. I'm going to go with the Rams here as well because, again, New England, they're just they're making moves enough to win. Right. They faced a team to where they've been the Chargers. They've been in a lot of games, but again, I mean they're not beating a lot of elite teams this year. You know what I mean? Justin Herbert's looking good. He's a really good story, and it seems like they have a bright future. But again, they're not playing up to par with a lot of other teams. New England Patriots, they're hit and miss. They're sitting there at 6-6 right now. The Rams, I think, have now after that Super Bowl loss, have learned some things from that. And again, they have Jalen Ramsey now there. They didn't have that for the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be able to again because we put Jalen Ramsey on their best wide receiver. Who's their best wide receiver at this point? You know what I mean? Who knows, right?
It's either Demarius Byrd or or Jacoby Myers.
Myers, yeah. So, I mean, again, I think this defense is going to be able to press it through. As you're going to see Aaron Donald, trying to stop Cam Newton here. I like the Rams as well. All right, so we're going to go to the Sunday in the Houston Texans against the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears here trying out Mitch Trubisky again because of the hip injury, the hip bruise here with Nick Foles. How light?
It's a bruise.
Oh my goodness.
I understand.
I know that hurts.
Yeah, I get it.
Bones hurt. I mean,
but
I mean,
after a few days, like you should be
dude,
good to go.
You fell on your fanny, all right, and you're complying, and you had to go out in a stretcher. And now Mitch Trubisky's in. It seems like you almost don't want to be out there and playing. Then you're like, all right, Mitch, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead, take it over for me. Go ahead. And I guess you're seeing what you're seeing out of those guys, and you're gonna probably see probably after this game, Matt Nagy probably get let go. Maybe Ryan Pace because he's the one who went and got Mitch Trubisky here.
They should both be.
Other guys were there. Maybe both of them. Houston again, another team that despite not playing as well or not having some of the personnel. Moving on from Bill O'Brien finally.
Right.
Romeo Crennel there. They've got some wins, and they're playing well. If it wasn't just for that fumble last week here on that exchange, they could have come out there with another win.
Right.
And Deshaun Watson playing well and not talked about at all this season. Again, kind of sneakily, since they've been on the downturn, there's people who avoid them. They don't want to talk about that anymore.
They're just not the exciting team
they've
like
been
they
playing
were.
well, and Chicago, I don't think I think they're still going to have their struggles. I think I like Houston in this game.
Yeah, I just, both teams is up and down. I mean, you never know what you're getting from either one of these guys. Chicago, like I bet on them last week, and they failed big time. It's just, whenever you got Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback, you just there's just nothing certain about him. He's making he either looks like an all-pro one week, or he just makes a ton of mistakes the next. So Houston. You know what you're getting in Deshaun Watson. You're getting an all-pro quarterback playing, with this offense. And despite not having Will Fuller now for 6 games, I think, so basically the season, it's over, they still got some weapons. Kiki Cutie showed up last week and really performed well, in his first, act of service in, I don't know how long, maybe since, last year. And then Houston's defense kind of woke up last week too. J.J. Watt was in the backfield quite often, stopping runs, getting a couple sacks. And I wonder if with that momentum after that win, are they going to keep this ball rolling? I think they can against Chicago because Chicago's in the same boat they are. They're just fighting and scratching for every win. So I like my quarterback in Deshaun Watson with the Houston Texans over Mitch Trubisky in the Chicago Bears.
All right, Joe's.
And what's the deal with the Bears defense? I'm sorry.
That's what I mean. I
got to bring this up. You got
even
all
Eddie
these
Jackson's
players
making some mistakes there.
You got all these players. That this is the same defense that was the number 1 defense in the NFL 2-3 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago. Yep. Then they were in the number 4th, overall.
It's
too. They were there.
What happened? All of a sudden they forgot how to play.
I mean, you're seeing the difference that Akeem Hicks was even in the front end. You know what I mean? They're missing him in the front end there too, and that helped get Khalil Mack open.
I'll tell you what it is. No Vic Fangio there calling the defense.
That's it too. That's
got to be what it is.
That has been there.
So that shows you what coaching can do. Because it's not all just about the players. Look, they got Marlon Mack, they got Eddie Jackson, they got, Akeem Hicks. They got a lot of great players, What's happened? Vic Fangio's not there. So, yeah, Chicago.
There, all right.
I might pick against Chicago the rest of the season.
Oh, man.
So angry at them right now.
All right, here we go. Now we've got the Dallas Cowboys at the Cincinnati Bengals. If Joe Burrow was able to be in this game, I would have went with Cincinnati in here. But this is going to be a tough game here, though.
I think this is going to be a close one. I really do.
I think this is going to be a tighter game. But if there is any game to bounce back here and have Dallas have some positives, I think this should be it. I think Mike McCarthy needs to take the team aside. Everybody, show everybody. Look at you missed 3 field goals, buddy. That's 9 points. That would have kept us in the game, a winnable game. There you go. Zeke, you got to do this. But, my
Zeke,
thing,
I'm not
I have to
run
run the ball, though, too. So I think I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys on this one. just because, again, Cincinnati, losing their starting quarterback has made a big difference. They're struggling under Taylor.
They had Brandon Allen start the game last week, and then they benched him for Ryan Finley.
Yeah, they got Ryan Finley in there now. So they're even talking about, just talking about Cincinnati. I heard that Marvin Lewis's name is getting tossed out there, making a comeback. Maybe not with Cincinnati, but back in the NFL. So watch out, New York Jets.
I will say this. Hello, Raiders. Fire your D coordinator. Hire Marvin Lewis because that dude is a bad man when it comes to calling defenses.
Boom, there you go. It is pointless to resist.
It is pointless to resist.
All right, so just real quick, Cincinnati, because they don't have Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow was playing, I actually might pick Cincinnati in this
that's
one.
what I'm saying. They're
because I think he makes that much of a difference with this team. And the other reason why I'll say that I'm not picking Cincinnati is they just lost their rookie offensive tackle in Jonah Williams. So that's going to be a big loss. So how much is that going to play into going up against Cowboys front with DeMarcus Lawrence and company? So because of those two factors, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. Like you said, if there's any game they're going to win, the bounce back. This is right here. It's got to be right here for you. You got to be it.
Yep, definitely here
and
now.
Watch us both be wrong.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers facing up against the Detroit Lions. Watch this be a little tougher in the beginning of this game. It's gonna be weird because again, Green Bay, they've been playing very well.
Division rival.
They're up there, but the division rivalry games. I told you all last week, and you guys, and I even laughed at myself. I'm like, it seems like I'm saying this every time, but this game's gonna be close. But this team's gonna edge it out. And what did you see this past week? Those games were close, and a lot of them. It went right down to it. And they edged them out.
Whenever these
Green
teams,
Bay, this is going to be tougher.
Whenever these divisional teams go up against each other, they know each other so
Despite
well.
personnel, it's just matchups.
Yeah, they
just
just know each other so well. Like the offensive scheme they run, the defensive calls that they make. Like they know each other so well to the point where it's just a chess match, man. Any little advantage that they can get can tip the scales, and then you end up getting the W.
But that being said, on this one, I'm still going to lean towards the Green Bay Packers. Joe, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, I too have the Green Bay Packers because this is one of those games where Detroit, they just play up. They just get up for these divisional rivalries and they play up, and they're good. It could be like a back and forth game.
Another team that just lost their head coach.
Yeah, and by the way, they lost their head coach and they won a game.
They won a game again.
Yeah. So maybe
we're seeing a trend.
So, but Detroit Lions, can they do it again back to back? Can they get this win? It's possible. But again, I am just going to lean towards a roster that I see is a little bit better all around. So do it. Green Bay it is.
All right, there you go. Now we've got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Miami Dolphins. All right, Miami has been an interesting team too, because again, you don't know what you're expecting. I don't even know if I'm going to see Tua this week or not. Sometimes they're like, oh, maybe we'll put Tua in for a little bit. Then we'll put Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know. Tua looked good last week though. Miami, they're an up and coming team too. They're one of those teams that had the draft picks, made the best out of it. Made some trades that seemed a little crazy at the time, but they are moving up in that division. Kansas City Chiefs, they are beatable. Everybody wants to still put them on this upper echelon, and yes, maybe at this point, they are the best team in the league. Their record shows only one loss to the Raiders, but there was a grind-out game last week that it was close.
Yeah.
It was real close. They almost went down. And Miami, I think, is going to give it to them hard here on this. So I probably said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking it's going to be a tougher game than you would expect here. I would still just tip my hat and give it just because of even personnel to the Kansas City Chiefs here. But I think people are going to be surprised in this one.
Yeah, and Tyreek Hill, he caught a touchdown he didn't know he caught.
Yeah, I know. How about that?
So that's kind of funny. And Andy Reid last week, he came out in his press conference there, and he goes, it's the first situation and first time that's ever happened to me as a coach. He goes, a receiver that didn't realize that he caught a touchdown. Interesting. To Tyreek, I'm like, how did you not know the ball was
Well, that's
there?
Andy Reid's luck, though, too. he has such bad with, like, he challenges.
Yeah,
And on
he
things
gets
that
it
are
wrong.
completely, you're
Oh.
like, dude, why are you
Like,
throwing
why?
that flag? And he loses it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's only fitting that this is an easy one.
Yeah.
And he doesn't throw the flag at all.
It's,
Yeah,
it's,
you know.
I mean, who was upstairs to let him know, like, hey,
no,
challenge
yeah,
it? You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like,
I know.
Like he kept asking Tyreek Hill on the side.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill had his helmet off. He's like, no, I don't think I caught it.
It was funny, too, because right at that moment, they're showing the replay, and my 4-year-old son wakes up out of bed.
Oh,
Walks
yeah?
over and gives us a kiss.
Okay.
And he walks by, and he just stops and says to me, he goes, that was a nice catch, Daddy. I'm like, he's 4, and he knows. And he just saw it in a glance, walking by. And he told me that was a nice catch.
Yeah, see?
I mean, it's pretty.
It's not that
fun.
hard.
So what do you got? You got the Chiefs on this one, Joe?
No.
He's got the Dolphins.
Actually, I'm gonna roll the dice on this one. I'm gonna go to Miami
Joe's
Dolphins
going with
because
the Dolphins.
I gotta make
I
some
can't blame
ground
you.
up.
I can't blame you there.
Because here's the thing, and this is why, like, a lot of people would just say, hey, it's got to be Kansas City all the way. But if you haven't paid attention to the Miami Dolphins, they do have a pretty good defense. They got 2 really good corners, Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard yet again had another pick last week. In a team that if they're running on all cylinders, if Tua plays his A game or Ryan, whoever's playing quarterback, they do have Gaskin back. They're starting running back, so that's reassuring. Their offensive line's playing better. Devontae Parker killing it, and Mike Gesicki is finally being utilized as a tight end there. So I think they could scrape away a win, quite possibly. They are home. They don't have to play in Kansas City, so they get to stay home. And I'm just gonna say, because I feel like this game could be a close game than people realize, I'm gonna say that Miami just comes away with it just barely at the end.
All right, New York Giants just hot off a win
That's
to
right.
a.
Let me mark that down.
There you go. Make sure you do. They just came in and beat Seattle.
It's probably
Seattle.
wrong. It's probably
And
wrong.
so now they're facing up against another NFC West team here in the Arizona Cardinals, who we've said has been struggling also at times here too, and can't seem to get it straight. This is a tougher game too, but I mean, I've seen the New York Giants just do it to the Seattle Seahawks, so why not the Arizona Cardinals here?
Right.
I mean, I think altogether, toe to toe, Arizona has better wide receivers. But, again, struggling a bit on defense here as well. Giants are playing good. I think I'm going to stay with the Giants here at home. I think I'm going to ride the Giants wave here for once. Yeah. You know, and I'm not being a homer on this one. I think I'm just sticking to what we have here.
No, I mean,
And I think I'm going to go with it. Whatever. Why not? If I lose, whatever.
for any know-it-alls out there, you know Jim is definitely not a homer.
Hey.
He will pick against his team
every time
week.
I do.
And I'm the same way with my team usually. Like I have a hard time picking them for some reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, Arizona Cardinals, very explosive offense, like we talked earlier in the show. But defensively, they are hurting. And the way the Giants' defense has been playing, I mean, they've been playing pretty sound football on that side of the ball. And as long as the Giants' offense doesn't make mistakes, they're going to beat some opponents that you didn't expect, and I think this might be one of them. So I too am going to go with the Giants after what I've seen last week, especially against a really good Seattle team. I think who knows? Maybe they can just run the table the rest of the season and win the rest of the games. Who knows?
Boom. Oh, yeah, there you go. The Minnesota Vikings now are going to Tampa Bay. You know, they're fresh off of a bye week. Tom Brady gets to hit the reset button here. And maybe they can get some winning ways going here, too. Minnesota, they're a funny team, man, too. It seems like when they finally start to get them rolling again, and now they get another setback. Dalvin Cook still second leading rusher in the NFL here, getting that going on the running game. Tampa Bay, they're hit and miss. They haven't really beaten anybody spectacular to me in my eyes. You know what I mean? They've played well and they have a winning record, but some of the other teams that have given it, they lost, twice to the Saints, so that's out. Even if they tie division here, they're done on that.
Right.
So so now they're looking to just get that wild card spot here. Make it in there, get this team right, because the miscues on throwing the deep ball for one, not getting it down, and the inability, I think, to stay with the run even too. I think they should run more. I mean, the way Ronald Jones has been playing and running, at times it seems like they're just setting back and passing a lot more than they should be.
Yeah, I realize you got all these crazy weapons now. You got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you got Antonio Brown now added to the team, and in your tight ends, but you got Rob Gronkowski and all that. But that doesn't mean you need to throw the ball more often. You have Rojo in the backfield, and he's been running his tail off. I mean, the guy has really made leaps and bounds, a huge improvement in his game. And this year, to be honest, like if they ran the football more and trusted him more, he could be easily up there with the elite running backs right now. But because they're not utilizing him more, I feel like why not? Why wouldn't you do that? If you have a running back who's running like Ronald Jones is, utilize him more, because that's going to save your quarterback from being hit. That's going to open up more things in the passing game for you. So it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Maybe this game, maybe after the bye week, maybe they woke up and maybe they will. And Tampa Bay's defense is absolutely amazing this year. So that along with their offense and how explosive they can be, they're at home. Minnesota's got to come to them. I'm going to go with Tampa in this one.
All
and
right.
Minnesota's let me down too often.
I know, because even if you look at last game, it came down
They
to
should've lost.
a Mike Glennon interception. That was just a bad
Right.
throw.
They should've
so
lost.
against Jacksonville, who isn't really one of the upper echelon teams as well. So yeah, I'm going to ride with Tampa Bay as well. To what you're saying, the same thing. Tampa Bay can bounce back here, and this is definitely a beatable game. All right, now we have the Denver Broncos, who played the Chiefs hard last week. Again, that was tight.
Division rivals,
Really
man.
tight. And Carolina Panthers, who have been able to play without Teddy Bridgewater and still get it done. Still,
Still find a way.
with Walker, PJ
No,
Walker
isn't that
back in there,
crazy?
showing everybody how it's done. Without PJ Walker, or without Bridgewater
Teddy,
and things like
yeah.
that. And before they were winning without McCaffrey and stuff. Good teams find ways to win without their marquee player in there, and that's what this team has been doing. But Denver's been playing a bit better here too. You know what I thought too last week, and I'm watching that Denver game. Melvin Gordon, man, he was playing hard. I mean, they kept trying to get Philip Lindsay involved and stuff, but they should have just kept pounding with Melvin Gordon. Nobody was stopping him. He would not be denied last week. I think they need to try and do that this week against the Carolina Panthers, and I don't know. It's going to be tough, but you know what? I think Carolina's been playing really well. I can see them taking down Denver. I'm going to ride with Carolina. Why not?
Yeah, Denver Broncos, they got all their quarterbacks back now, so they should be good to go. And this is the other thing, too, is we talked about this before, but I got to touch on it right now, is this is where I think NFL plays favorites to teams with the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, I
and
said
all
that
the
last week in
protocols.
the show.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
know.
brought it- yep.
But I got to touch it on for Denver. Like, I know they're my rival. I should hate them and all that, but nobody deserves, like, if you're missing 3 quarterbacks, you shouldn't be made to play a game. Your game their game last week should have been delayed, postponed, whatever, and see if you could get the quarterbacks back in time for them to play, because huge disadvantage. You didn't have. It's not like you just had, Drew Lock is out, so it's next man up. The next man up was gone, and then the next man up after that is gone. You had no quarterbacks on the roster, and they had to turn to a rookie wide receiver to come in and play quarterback, who hasn't played quarterback, I think, 1 season in college. Like, what? And the NFL still made them play a game. So, I mean, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And you're seeing this, like, for some teams like the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's out. This guy's out. That guy's out. Oh, guess what? We're pushing your game back.
Yeah.
But Denver Broncos, they didn't do that for.
Yeah, all their running backs were gone. You know what I mean? J.K.
Yeah.
Dobbins.
And Lamar.
Yep, and Lamar, yep.
Messed
Yeah,
up.
9
anyway,
starters,
okay.
yep.
All right, going back to the game
Go
here. Denver Broncos, they get the quarterbacks back. Denver hasn't had the best of seasons right now. They're still trying to figure things out with Vic Fangio as the head coach. Carolina Panthers, surprisingly, I mean, in their first year with not only a new head coach, but a college head coach. It's usually unlikely for a college coach to come into the NFL and be successful like he is right now. So Carolina Panthers are going to be home. It's a 1 o'clock game. Denver's got to travel from the West Coast to the East Coast, which usually is pretty hard on those teams. So I'm going to go with Carolina. I really like their young defense that they have, and their offense. It hasn't missed a beat, regardless of who's in.
Yeah. There you go. So there we go. I'm going to do the same thing with you. Here, the Tennessee Titans here and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville again. Doug Marrone, I said this last week's show. I know you said you would watch it later. What do you feel about my take on Doug Marrone? I think Doug Marrone's days have got to be numbered, I think, in Jacksonville, too, by the decisions he's made throughout the years. Handling his quarterbacks.
The funny thing is we had the same conversation last year on our show.
Right?
And we both said that Doug Marrone needs to go. That was last year. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel the same way. Doug Marrone should be gone. Like, he hasn't improved this team in any capacity. He himself has had some bad decision making, as a head coach, and playing quarterback carousel with whoever was there. Like, you got to figure it out, man. And if you haven't done it by now, and you haven't improved this team enough to warrant like an extension or be able to stay and stick around, it's time to go. It's time for Jacksonville to finally move on from this guy and bring in some fresh coach. Maybe an up and coming guy like Byron Leftwich. Maybe a guy like Eric Bieniemy from the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I mean? You just need new fresh blood right now.
Absolutely, but like I said, the way they've been playing, and then he's got Mike Glennon in there. Not sure.
Which
they
I was
played
surprised.
some teams tough. Yeah, I know.
Like,
me too.
Jake Luton. Like, what happened? Like, all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I don't
think
like
a few too many turnovers. I don't know. It just whatever. They just. I don't know. He doesn't need an explanation. He does
doesn't
what
know
he does.
either.
But Tennessee Titans again. If that not for that big play at the end of the game there, by which one? By Cleveland, I'll just say Baker Mayfield. Sorry, I drew a blank, but. Tennessee, they're going to bounce back here. This is what they do. Mike Vrabel went right into that, into the facilities afterwards, looked at the video, called everybody out in it. They're going to come back, play hard, and really take it to Jacksonville on this one. I like the Titans.
I mean, I don't know what happened to Tennessee last week, to be honest. Like, I knew it was going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Like, I figured that was going to be a good game, but I didn't think the Tennessee defense was going to allow it to get so out of hand.
Yeah.
And then for the offense to just not score. Like, Derrick Henry fumbled. Like, there was a lot of things happening last week for Tennessee that all went backwards.
You saw when they lost to the Colts, it just happened to be just turnover, and there you go. You're out of it.
I mean, yeah, but Tennessee their offense, they couldn't do anything. They were turning the ball over left and right on that. I don't even know how to explain it. But Tennessee, they got to be pissed off after that loss. Even though they fought back and they stormed back late in that game and they had a chance to come back and win that, they just couldn't get it done. And this week, you know that they're going to come with guns ablazing against Jacksonville, who really isn't involved in anything right now. Tennessee Titans, they are fighting for something. I look for Tennessee to come into Jacksonville and whoop that ass.
Oh, there you go. All right, here now we've got the Colts at the Vegas Raiders. I talked about this last week too. It was kind of funny
last week
because of the fact that I'm like, they play because from you, I'm so close to you all the time.
Yeah,
they do not travel well.
No,
from the west to the east,
west to east coast, and
they failed.
And 1 o'clock game.
Yes, and they failed the week before, and now they had to do it here with the Jets, which I still said I think I'll still see them maybe edging them out, winning, but this is going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yep.
And the Raiders sleep on this. And watch out, because I kind of smell, a win here possibly. And it almost happened. Jets fans were probably like, "Oh my goodness, here we go.
They're happy.
It's gonna be done. It's
They're
gonna
happy.
be done."
They want the number 1
and
overall
then
pick.
Greg Williams goes the zero blitz, and there you go. There's Ruggs the third, deep
double move.
It's a walk off. Unbelievable. What was going through your mind on that?
You don't want to know what's going through my mind. But anyway, what I will say this. The Vegas Raiders kind of beat themselves in that game because Gruden was his own worst enemy. Listen, Gruden went, as soon as he got like a 10-point lead on the Jets, he went conservative. He just went run. Oh, it's 3rd and long. Now we got to throw the ball. That didn't work. Punt the ball.
Yeah.
He did that same thing until all of a sudden now the Jets are ahead. Oh crap! Now I got to call the high-powered offense again. Why?
Foot on the gas.
Why let it?
all the
Why
time.
let it get to there?
Mhm.
Just keep trying to score points. Hey, the Patriots have done it for years, and it worked out for them, right?
Exactly.
So
you have to.
Don't let up. And then, I mean, you've heard me countless times complain about my D coordinator and how bad he is. We made the Jets' offense look like they should be top 5 in the league.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If it wasn't for Greg Williams calling that blitz at the last game and leaving somebody man-to-man against Ruggs, who's one of the fastest dudes in the league, we don't win this game. They didn't deserve to win this game.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I mean,
and now
the
he
Raiders,
lost his job for it.
Yeah, good. I hope he stays unemployed. How do you like that, Greg?
Well, who knows? Maybe that's the first axe to be dropped here with that team. So we'll see moving forward.
Yeah,
but
it
what do
should
you
be
think
Gase.
here? You got the Raiders here at home. The Colts, who've
This is a
been
tough
winning
game.
and playing some tougher games. They barely, on that fumble with the Texans, come out with that.
Okay, so
win.
there's a couple things to point out here. Is I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be available
No,
again this
I
week.
don't think he is,
And I don't know about Trent Brown, but he was activated off the COVID list, so it looks like as long as he practices, he's going to finally be back with the team and playing at right tackle, which is a huge advantage for the Raiders.
I'm happy when I'm playing.
Yeah, he does sound like a Cabbage Patch baby, by the way. But Indianapolis Colts, very tough team. Don't sleep on this team. And this is a team that the Raiders need to beat in order to stay in the hunt for the playoff. If they beat the Colts, they are in for the playoffs. Dolphins are also on the way. Guess what? The Raiders play the Dolphins the following week. So there's a lot at stake right now. Raiders got to handle business. They're playing home against the Colts. The Colts are no pushovers. Their defense is really good. The Colts' defense is really good. And we've all seen Phillip Rivers. Now, he hates the Raiders, loves to beat them and all that. But can the Raiders put enough pressure on Phillip Rivers? You know what I mean? They did against Sam Darnold and Clelin Ferrell. Two sack fumbles last week. I mean, really had a great showing. And he's really starting to come into his own. I think all in all, like, it's hard for me to pick either team. I'm that split on it. But because the Raiders are home, because they don't have to travel anywhere, I'm going to go with my own team, the Raiders, on this one, and I think they get it done.
All right, here I'm going to go the opposite with you. I'm going to go with the Colts. I know, again, they had a game where they probably should have lost there in Houston. I think Houston's defense played a bit better than was expected, and they will do. They did better than what I think your Vegas Raiders defense will do. So I think the Colts will be able to get some plays on offense here for them. Phillip Rivers will make the safe throw, and I like the Colts in that one.
Yeah.
All right.
I just don't. I don't think
It could go either way, though. I agree though with you.
I
too,
don't
so.
see the Colts defense as good as they are being able to stop all the weapons that the Raiders have.
All right. Well, let's see. We got the Jets now against Seattle. Hey, the Jets can win this one. We see the Giants just do it. No.
Could they though?
I don't know. Again, it's beginning of the end here for the Jets now here. It's just signing it off. Again, Seattle, after a tough loss there against Colt McCoy and the Giants, they're at home yet again to face the Jets. And the Jets, again, should be beatable in this one. They were able to put up, a decent amount of points last week for once, which is a good sign for them. But I like Seattle to bounce back here against the New York Jets.
Yeah, Seattle's just a different team. I mean, listen, every time the Jets face against any kind of like an average defense, they don't do so hot. You can mark me down already for Seattle.
Yeah, I know already,
like,
yes.
It's not even a question. I don't think this is one of the games that the Jets can win. I thought last week was that game to win, and they failed to do that. Seattle, they're way more aggressive on defense. They're going to send the blitz. They're going to create pressure on Sam Darnold. And I don't see the Jets coming away from Seattle alive.
All right, there you go. Now we've got the New Orleans Saints and Philadelphia here now with Jalen Hurts. I don't think that's going to be enough here to beat the New Orleans Saints here. I like what they're doing with Taysom Hill. I was skeptical the first week, and since then I'm not going to ever doubt Sean Payton and what he does here on this one.
Dude, he's like one of the best
coaches. They said even Drew Brees might even come back down there. They're saying we'll see how the ribs are. They've been, I guess, passed by one of their doctors, but they're going to do that. But either way, again, I'm just going to escape everything that's going on in Philly, and I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints.
And that's the thing, too, is like I saw Drew Brees warm up actually last week in pregame warm-ups. And he was doing his normal routine, like going out there, like pretending to throw the football type of thing, like moving his body and getting to see if the torso when he works.
He
didn't look like he was in pain.
Exercise.
Step the little hip, hip pop.
Yeah.
But he didn't look like he was in pain at all. So I mean, he may be just ready to go for this week. Maybe they just held him out last week as a precaution, see how everything feels, and if he goes or doesn't go. I love the way the Saints defense has been playing lately. They've been lights out. They've been very all over the football. Very aggressive. And I like what Sean Payton's doing with this team. It doesn't matter what quarterback is playing. It doesn't matter what he has to utilize on the offensive football field here. But yeah, it's going to be Saints against Philly, and Saints is good. They're going to come away with a win in Philadelphia. Hurts, I feel like they're putting the training wheels on him. You know that he's not going to get the whole playbook, and that's going to limit their offense, even though it is banged up as it is. So we'll have to wait and see what Hurts can do. But all in all, Saints will win the game.
All right, here we go. Now the Atlanta Falcons against the Chargers. Two teams that are meeting at a crossroads here. There's a lot to be said. You know what I'm saying? The Chargers have been in a lot of games and just barely lost to some mid-league. They barely lost, I think, even to the Chiefs at one point this season. I think it was by like a field goal or something like that. They really played them hard. Divisional rivals, all the two. Yeah. The Falcons came out 2 games ago and lit up some points, and then last week, not so hot, against the Saints. But now you've got the teams facing each other. What am I going to get out of these guys? Yeah, what's funny? I was looking at the stat line last night. Matt Ryan is like up there in passing yards. He's like 3rd or 4th, I think, in passing yardage, and it's not even talked about, and it's kind of just overlooked throughout this whole thing. And but it's tough with this team here in the Chargers. I just don't know what direction the Chargers are going to go in. I'm going to slide in with Atlanta, I think. Okay. I'm going to go with Atlanta. Why not? What the hell?
Go with Atlanta. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Let's go with the Chargers. There you go. Do it, Joe.
That just made it easy.
It may be, you said you wouldn't go with him until, maybe because he shaved his head. Maybe he'll change things, though. Who knows?
Maybe he should just start growing it out.
Maybe grow it out quick, yeah.
But anyway, you're right. I mean, either way, you could go either way with this game.
You're not sure what you're going to get.
Atlanta, you got the offense. You know that you have the offense. Their defense hasn't been playing that well. And with the Chargers, it's like they have a good defense. I don't know what happened to their offense last week, but... And their defense. I mean, nothing worked out last week. But maybe they wake up. They got to fight for Anthony Lynn's job, or don't. Whatever.
Yeah. And that's another one that's been mentioned out there, maybe on the hot seat.
There's another guy,
Anthony Lynn.
That's another coach that I would love to get fired. I know that sounds terrible, but he is a great D coordinator, and I would love to have him. Just saying, Anthony, if you would like to come to the dark side, my man, and coach up the Raiders D, that'd be great.
Wow. All right. All right, here we go. Now we got the Washington football team. We got a few more left here. The Washington football team coming off a big win, taking out the Steelers. But, we saw the Steelers the way they've been playing kind of all season, especially even after having that long break there. Now on a short week, they're going to use that as an excuse for losing now.
Yeah, sure.
They're crybabies. Yeah. But Washington had the defense to really step it up to them. Yeah. And you saw even, too, especially in the last couple plays there, when they went single high safety, and I think it was when Sims got the one catch, where they missed Bud Dupree. Having him there, Bud Dupree in there, that injury not being there, that was kind of
because they only had to concentrate on T.J. Watt at that point. They didn't have to worry about the other rush on the opposite side.
Absolutely. So here we go. San Francisco was playing tough, even with Nick Mullins. But we've seen a lot of their players, and now what's made it easy that I've noticed too in that last game. What do we know about San Francisco? They're a run-first team. Those guys are all healthy. Those guys are there. Do it. Give it to most. Give it to those guys. Yeah. Get those ground yards.
True.
Make it safe for Nick Mullins. He made a few bad throws last week. You're going to have a little bit of that. But it was a winnable game. It was close for them. But still, San Francisco, Alex Smith, still a veteran quarterback, better than Nick Mullins. I'm going to go with the Washington football team, although it hurts me. I need the Giants to win here.
Hurts
As
me.
a Giants fan, hold off that Washington football team.
But here's the
I can't
crazy
believe I'm
thing
saying
too,
that right
is
now.
they finally got their guys back. You know,
Yeah.
they're not banged up and hurt. They got Brandon Ayuk back, their rookie. They got Deebo Samuel back. They got Ryan Mostert back. They got a lot of guys back, and even especially the defense. They're all pretty much healthy. The only one guy they're missing is George Kittle. And even though that's a big loss at tight end,
Yeah, and on defense.
the Niners got it.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
got to get back to their ways in the beginning of the season, where they ran the rock and
what I
punished
think.
teams with running the football and then opening up the pass afterwards. So if they can do that, they got a shot to win this game. But I really do like the Washington football team this week because their defense is very stout, much like the Niners when they're healthy. And on top of that, just for the same reason that Jim just mentioned, I really like what Alex Smith is doing in Washington. Yeah, Washington football team is going to get this win.
There you go. And now we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers off a loss. Buffalo in a tough game there with the 49ers. But again, Josh Allen looking really nice, progressing well. Making some good reads, too, as well at the quarterback position. I've seen other times where he would take off running,
And he
trying to hurdle some
absolutely,
guys.
I mean,
He's throwing some darts in there.
Cole Beasley is lighting it up. Stephon
That's
Diggs,
what
which
I was
is
having
the
in my
biggest,
brain. Like when you brought up Cole Beasley right
biggest
there, when
addi-
I'm thinking
addition.
of him not taking off and running and trying to throw, he held out on a bootleg so
Yeah.
long, just wait, pump, and then hit Cole Beasley directly on the sideline
Yeah.
to where Beasley just stayed there, tiptoed, and then went out. Perfect.
And the best
play,
thing
you
about
know.
all this for Buffalo and their offense is that getting that trade done for Diggs, because that's opening up everything for them. Now they have a legitimate, real deep threat, a guy that's in one of his favorite targets. You know, he's really throwing the football to him an awful lot. And then John Brown and Cole Beasley, they get it. Like Cole Beasley, I feel like is more like the number 2, even though he plays in the slot. And John Brown's kind of like the forgotten man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But all in all, I mean, Buffalo Bills, they got everything running just fine. Their offense is killing it. Their defense is really solid and good. So there's a lot to like in Buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm going to go with probably Buffalo on this one here. What do you
Okay.
think, Joe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I think. This is one of the toughest games to pick, I feel like, because you got Pittsburgh coming off of a loss. You know they're going to want to keep winning because they're trying to keep the Chiefs out of
They
that
do
number
get,
1 spot.
you know, Connor's back. James Conner is going to come back, I think, this week. So that would maybe help alleviate the running. But they haven't
Isn't
been
it-
running,
right.
which I thought was kind of weird.
Right.
Because I think even in that game, and then even the game against the Baltimore Ravens, I would have liked to see more Benny Snell. Because even when they said they weren't able to run in that game, they were. They just weren't handing it to him enough. They weren't staying balanced. As every time he got it, he was ripping off chunks of 5 yards at a time. Just give it to him. Balance the game out. I'm not saying play safe, but be more balanced. Every time you drop back in shotgun, they know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you got to be more balanced. You got to be unpredictable, and go back to the Steeler offense that they used to do. I mean, that used to be it. They used to pound the rock, and that opened up the pass for when Antonio Brown was there, and Juju Smith-Schuster, and things were great. Now it's really weird. It's odd almost. It seems like they just kind of completely changed the way they're running their offense mid-season, and I'm a little confused by it. But Pittsburgh, yes, you know, missing Budget-Pree was huge. I mean, that's definitely tough to overcome, missing a player like that, and in this contract year, by the way.
Yeah.
So Buffalo Bills playing lights-out football. It's hard for me to go against Buffalo at this point. I mean, they've really have superseded.
Because that
every-
defense is good, too.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah,
The
it's great.
defense is
It's
great.
really good.
You know, I would like even them to run a little more, even get both running backs going and involved.
And I think it's different. You know, if you're playing in Pittsburgh, even though there's like really no fans and all that, it's just a different sense, a different feel. You go to Buffalo, it's the same thing. It's like a different feel. Like for Pittsburgh, they know they're going to be away, obviously, but it's going to be a different feel for them. Different stadium, different type of atmosphere. So I feel like Buffalo's going to be like super comfortable. They're just going to take it to them, and may the best team win.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to bring up, too, with Pittsburgh, Deontay Johnson, man. He's been really a heel for them, too, as well here on offense. In the past 2 games, if he caught 50% of the ones that he dropped, it's a different story again, I think, for their team, too. And,
Yeah.
and scoring plays are getting them in position to score. And he's made crucial drops. And they keep going back to him, and I'm sure they're trying to do that to keep it going and get some rhythm, but
They shouldn't.
they got to eliminate the drops.
They should. Yeah, you know how you do that? You bench him.
Yeah.
Put in the next minute. Put James Washington in.
Speaking of drops, I thought about it because I was talking to some Cowboys fans, rubbing it in a little bit about them. 26 drops this season. They lead the NFL in drops because I brought up to a fan about how CeeDee Lamb dropped that Hail Mary pass right at the beginning of halftime. It was in his hands. They could have had it. There again, plays left on the field.
And I think that's his second drop of that game, too.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, just something to think about. And again, it's not one whole person. It's not this and that, but one guy that needs to fix it is the head coach. All right, here, finally, Monday Night Football. As long as, there's no COVID outbreaks or anything like this, we will only have one Monday night game this week, we hope, or whatever. Baltimore at Cleveland. Now, this is going to be an exciting game. This is the game I think everybody wants to see now. Lamar's back. He's healthy. We've got the running backs. We saw both running backs all work it together. Actually, all three. Edwards ran like a horse, too, in that last game.
Yeah.
And then Dobbins. Everybody was running. Lamar, oh, my goodness. And now you've got Cleveland winning. They're like 9-4, 9-3 or something like that. I think they're right there, 9-3. Playing some tough games, though, too. Beating some downright tough guys, and that win against the Titans last week was big.
That was big.
That shows because no matter where their records are, and where they're placed, it's not like college football, eye test here and there.
Yeah.
But eye test does matter in a sense in the NFL, what the people are saying about you, what they see of you. Who have you beaten lately? That was a big step forward for Cleveland because until then, they've kind of been like, oh, we beat those teams, but you probably should have been able to beat those teams. With this personnel that you have for this team, you should have probably been able to do that.
You know what's funny about this, too? Is that they're playing better without Odell.
Yeah,
so
that's
what is
been
that
brought up, too, as well.
So, I mean, if we already have heard the rumors about Cleveland possibly thinking of trading and moving on from Odell, saving that money for a free agent or two or whatever. I think they should do it. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world right now. I mean, listen, you can win without Odell. It's not like you need him to win, and you're proving it right now. You're 9-3 this year. And Odell hasn't really been involved in the offense when he was playing that much. And now that he's not there, you're still winning. So just saying.
Well, yeah. Plus, I mean, it's amazing all the players that you have. But, again, we've seen this in Philadelphia. It all boils down to the scheme. With Kevin Stefanski in there, he's got two great running backs right there. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
He runs.
You do that. Do you really need, Odell Beckham Jr. back there? It's nice to have there.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
doubt.
But their offense, like Kevin Stefanski, he's a heavy running type of offense. He's a heavy running guy. So with that alone, it's like you're not going to utilize Odell that much and Jarvis Landry a lot. So you're going to utilize Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and those guys are kind of like the afterthoughts. When we need to throw, we'll throw. But yeah, it's something that Cleveland, I really do think now more than ever, now in the direction that they're going, you really might want to start thinking about maybe possibly moving on from Odell.
Yeah. It sounds like, he was out in the Patrick Peterson's podcast, too, and talking about the Giants again, because they're going to be facing them soon.
Right.
Again, it felt like he got pushed out, not happy with Pat Shurmur, but it kind of sounded like in the whole thing, too, that he was open to saying, well, now that the Giants are playing better, maybe I could come back now, guys. Those guys are gone. That was not. They didn't like me. So I'm seeing it. He's trying to set it up again. I think. Patch it up with Dave Gettleman. Who knows? But anyways, we've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns here. Joe, what do you got in this one?
I don't know what I got.
All right.
No, so I mean,
it's gonna be a running game. Now, we can set that so far. All right.
This is the battle
it
of
might
the runs.
Go down to who can pass better here? Is it going to be Baker Mayfield? Is going to be on his shoulders here because Baltimore defense has been playing well, but then also Cleveland's defense has been playing well too.
Yeah, and the interesting part of this game is it is a division rivalry game, so they know each other very, very well. They're well aware of what each other brings and on the offense and defenses. So this game more than anything is going to be close, except for week 1. These two teams did meet up in week 1 where the Ravens kind of ran away with that game. The Browns only were able to drum up 6 points, I believe, in that week. But this is going to be very different because now it's a different kind of Browns team. It's a Browns offense that's really starting to come into its own. Their defense is still good. Baltimore's defense is good. Baltimore usually runs a heck of a lot. It's going to be who can stop whose game, you know? That's really what it's going to come down to. I don't know what to pick here with Baltimore or Cleveland. So,
all right. Want me to make it easier? I think I'm going to go with Baltimore. Just again, the way they're rested now after everything with COVID, the way they were coached even that week of not having everybody, where they went through RG3, had McSorley there with a big play to Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown getting a little more involved in the offense too, making some plays on a broken play to where Lamar was just looking for somebody. He breaks off the route, turns up, and gets that nice toe tap and touchdown in the end. I like the Baltimore Ravens in this one over there, although it's close, and I don't blame you for picking Cleveland.
Yeah, I probably would blame myself for picking Cleveland.
So are you going to go with Baltimore then, or are you going to go with Cleveland?
I think, yeah. I don't know, because here's the thing. For me, Cleveland, it seems like they're like one of those teams for me that if I pick them, they usually lose. Yes. And then when I don't, they win. But, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a good game all in all. What the hell? I'll go with Cleveland. I'll go in the other.
Who the hell cares?
A lot of people care, Jim.
All right. There we go. We got through it. It was a great show here, having Joe back with us after having a week off here. Had to work hard. Couldn't make it here the last show, but I made it through it. I'm glad that everybody that joined up with us. I'm glad to have him back here this week. And we are getting closer to our Christmas show is coming up, Joe.
Yeah, the holiday episode.
Where we do our naughty and nice list that everybody likes to join in on. So make sure you guys check that out. Coming up, see who's on the naughty list.
That's right.
And who might be on the nice list. So it could be surprising.
If you're new to the show, we really do wish that you would join and stick around, become a member, become a know-it-all. And how you do that is pretty much simple. You can follow us on Facebook or YouTube. You can search us up Football on the Know Show. Go ahead and become a know-it-all, a member on Facebook, or you can hit the subscribe button on YouTube and become a know-it-all that way. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell on YouTube to get our latest and greatest updated content. You can also follow us on Twitter at FB_know. That's right, at FB_know. To get all our tweets and all our little articles that we post on there, and all little bit of the news that through charities, through players do in different types of stories. So thank you guys all for catching up on our episode here, and we will see you next week.
All right, see you later next time.